The first and the most important thing that we have to learn about the network is termed as protocol. Fine. As we know that in our daily life, everything has some set of rules that we must have to follow. Fine. Like in our school life, we have some rules. In our home, we have some rules. For every task, we have some rules that we must have to follow. Similarly, in a computer network, we have some rules, we have some protocols that have to be followed. Fine. So all the basic set of rules which are followed in a computer network, these rules are termed as protocols or networking protocols. Fine. So now let's see what are these. Data transfer on a network involves communication between the client and the server system. Fine. So some standard set of rules are used by these two systems to make the communication possible. These network communication rules are known as protocols. Fine. In easy words, we can say that for sharing data in between two computers, we need some set of rules which will define that how the data will be transferred. Fine. And these set of rules are termed as protocols. Some most commonly used protocols are HTTP, HTTPS, TCP/IP, FTP, IMAP and SMTP. Fine. Now out of these 6 protocols, HTTP and HTTPS have the similar functionality. Fine. This HTTPS is an advanced version of our HTTP protocol. Then next we have this TCP/IP. This TCP/IP is generally responsible for the connection or the network connectivity. Then next we have this FTP. FTP is basically responsible for sharing the files in a network. Fine. Then these two, IMAP and SMTP, these are used for sending messages and mails. So now let's discuss about these. So first we have to discuss about HTTP. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. In general terms, hypertext is used for HTML. Fine. So we can say that this HTTP is a protocol which will help us to transfer or share the HTML pages. Fine. And we know that by using the HTML we can create the web pages. So we can say that this HTTP will help us to share the web pages. Fine. So we can summarize it as this HTTP is a protocol, or these are some set of rules which will define the server or the client that how these HTML pages or the web pages have to be transferred. Fine. So now let's read and then discuss. HTTP is a communication protocol used by a client machine to send the request to the web server for a web page. Fine. So now in the client end, this HTTP sends a request to the web server for a particular web page, and at server end it helps to transfer the requested page on client machine. Fine. So on server side it is generally used to send that page to the client. Fine. In easy words, we can say that when we type any URL in our web browser, our web browser creates a request. That request is given to the web server, fine, in the first phase, and then when our web server grants that request, it sends that page to our machine or our PC. Fine. So basically this HTTP controls the flow of that request and the flow of that web page. Fine. It is generally used in combination with World Wide Web. Now you might have found that whenever we type any web address, in that web address we have this HTTP followed by World Wide Web or www. Fine. So we can say that this HTTP is generally used for all the URLs that we have to type on internet. Fine. Now it is a web browser on the client machine which interacts with the remote machine called web server. Fine. Now the web browsers that we use, that web browser application on our computers basically interact with the servers by using HTTP. Fine. And then our web browser gives a request to our web server. Fine. So that request is termed as HTTP request. Fine. So it means whenever we type a URL on our web browser, that URL is considered as a request from our browser. Fine. Then our web server delivers the requested source to the client in the form of HTTP response. Fine. So it means when you will type a website on your URL or the URL on the web browser, that will be a HTTP request, and when the web server will give you that page, it will be the HTTP response. Fine. So this overall process is managed and controlled by the HTTP or the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Fine. Now next we have HTTPS. HTTPS stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. Fine. Now this HTTPS is the extended version of HTTP. Fine. Now basically in this HTTP we have some limitations. The basic limitation is that in the HTTP all the pages, the request and the response which we are transferring, these are in a plain text form. It means these pages can easily be read by the attackers or the hackers. Fine. So for making this connection secure, we have a HTTPS. In this HTTPS, everything is in encrypted form. Fine. Everything is in a encrypted form. Now let's read. HTTP is an extension of the HTTP. It is used for secure communication over a computer network and is widely used on the internet. In HTTPS, the communication protocol is encrypted. Fine. Now next we have TCP/IP. TCP/IP stands for Transmission Control Protocol or Internet Protocol. Fine. This TCP/IP is a combination of two protocols, TCP and IP. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol and IP stands for Internet Protocol. Fine. Now this TCP, as the name suggests, it is for transmission of data. Fine. As in the name we have Transmission Control Protocol. Fine. So it means this TCP will manage the sharing or the transmission of data from one PC to another. Whereas next is Internet Protocol. Fine. This Internet protocols generally help us to locate the devices through which or in which we are transmitting our data. Fine. Now Internet uses packet switching. Fine. In Internet, whenever we send some data, that data is converted into the form of a packet, and then that packet is given to the PC which is requesting for particular data. Fine. Internet uses packet switching technique to transfer the data. Fine. So it simply means that in Internet it uses a technique of packet switching. Fine. And the job of converting the information into equal size packet is the responsibility of TCP. Fine. Internet uses packet switching technique to transfer the data, and the job of converting the information into equal size packet is the responsibility of TCP at the source computer. Okay. So it is also responsible for reassembling the packets at the destination computer to the original information. The responsibility of the IP is to assign the addresses to the destination computer to each packet and route them over the network to their destination. Fine. Now in easy words we can say that whenever we send some data from our one computer to another, in that case this TCP will first break your data into the packets, then this IP will set the destination for all these packets, and then in the receiver's end, when the receiver will receive this data, again the TCP will merge all the packets. Fine. Next we have FTP. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Fine. This file transfer protocol is generally used for transmitting or sharing files between computers on internet. It is a client server protocol that establishes two communication channels between the client and the server. A command channel for controlling the transmission and data channel for transmitting the data. Fine. So it has a command channel which controls the transmission, and it has a data channel which manages the transmission of data. By using FTP, a client can upload, download, delete, move or rename the files on web server. Fine. So it simply means that whenever we upload something on a web server, we delete something on a web server, for each of these operations we have to use a FTP or a file transfer protocol. Fine. Then next we have IMAP. Now this IMAP is very important in our computers. IMAP is a standard email protocol. Fine. What is it? It is the email protocol which is used to store email messages on the mail server, but it allows the user to view or manipulate the messages as if these are stored on their local computers. Fine. Now basically in this IMAP we can send or we can share emails and this process works in such a smooth way that the user feels that everything is stored in the user's PC. Okay. Next we have SMTP. This SMTP is similar to IMAP. Fine. SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. In this SMTP is used when email is delivered. Fine. It is used only when the email is delivered from an email client to an email server. Fine. When an email is shared or delivered from an email client to an email server. Fine. So when an email is delivered from one email server to another, this SMTP is used. Fine. Now next terminology that we have to discuss is termed as intranet. Okay. This intranet is a part of computer network which is limited to a organization. Fine. And this network cannot be used outside the organization. Now let's see what is it. Intranet. And intranet is a private network that allows employees and staff in an enterprise to securely share knowledge and information easily within the company or organization. Fine. Generally this intranet is a private network of a company. Now let's take example. Let's take about a bank. The networks which are used inside a bank branch, these networks cannot be used outside. Fine. So it means that these networks are limited to that particular block or that building only. Fine. So these networks can be termed as their private networks and it can be example of intranet. Fine. Then next we have extranet. Fine. This extranet is the extended part of the intranet. Now let's take an example. Suppose of a bank we have multiple branches and now we are connecting the network of these multiple branches. Fine. So when we connect the network of these multiple branches, in that case all these branches can communicate with each other and still any outsider cannot access this particular network, but the individuals of this banking system can use this network outside the chain. Fine. So it is termed as extranet. Fine. This extranet is a private network that leverages internet technology. It means it uses the internet technology and public telecommunication system to share parts of a business information or operations over a secure system. Fine. With suppliers, vendors, partners, customers or other businesses. Fine. And extranet is often considered as the part of company's intranet, which is also available to some outside entities, but all these outside entities are the part of our company's organization system. Fine. Now here's a very simple example. As we can see, it is the intranet that is inside this circle only. Fine. We have some limited computers over here. So when we connect this intranet to the internet, fine, now the individuals who are sitting outside, they can also use this intranet and it will be termed as a extranet system. But the problem is that this intranet is only accessible to those who have their proper ID and passwords, and without these ID and passwords any other individual cannot use this intranet and the internet. Next we have network topology. Well, topology can be termed or it can be considered as a map or a layout. Fine. So generally the layout or the map that we use while we are creating a network, it is termed as a topology. Fine. In other words, we can say that the way of connecting computers in a network is known as topology. Fine. So topology is a method by which we can connect our computers in a network. Fine. It refers to the way in which nodes of a network are linked together physically. It means it is a method by which we can physically connect our computers. So we have three basic topologies that we have to discuss. These three basic topologies are star topology, ring topology and bus topology.